the sense of urgency that leaders need to pay attention to around this. I think, as Kay said, the school to prison pipeline really catapulted the idea that, suspensions were really causing such harm, and that was kind of undeniable because of the data. School leaders also are paying attention to things around issues of trauma, around issues that, all the issues that really affect the school climate. I mean, there's a reason why they're paying attention to school climate. And, the other area is what's going on in adolescent brain development and understanding that this is a way to really creating the correct environment for appropriate development. We're allowing young people the opportunity to to think for themselves, to reason through, to be in touch, to talk about their feelings and reason through their behavior is part of what develops their capacity to for self-management as an adult. It's actually an ongoing process right the way through the university years. So this is also affecting higher ed. All those things speak to the mind of leaders. What I'm hearing in your question is, how do we touch their hearts? Because I also think that's the other part of it too, that there's an experiential component that I think we need to touch people with, not just experiential, but getting to their core of their responsibility and to their own values. So I actually am, as I said, really just aware that I think that's an important piece of our working with higher level policymakers and administrators is not just convincing their minds with data, which is important, very important, but also figuring out ways to have them look at their own journey in life, to do the same reflections on their own core assumptions, and then what are their responsibilities as leaders of school systems. So I don't have a quick answer, but I think it's a problem that I feel a similar urge to try to work on right now.
That reminds me, Carolyn, of a recent experience I had with judges. So it was not in the school context, but I think that it really would have
similar,
applied.
Yeah.
So I had a whole group of judges, and I was to do this very brief training thing, and I put them in circle and did a round about values, and then I did a round where I asked them what touches their heart in their work. And it was amazing, not just in terms of my experience of the stories they told, but the different individuals afterwards told me they had never seen other judges in the same way because of the stories that got told. So you're absolutely right, Carolyn. That's so important.
That's a great prompt. So I think that maybe in some ways I wasn't really that clear about being specific about my question. I do feel like I do a really good job of standing up there and saying, these are all the great reasons why you should be doing this, and here's all the data, and here, I'm pretty good at that. I'm good at being a circle keeper too, but so when I sit down in circle, so like we're coming up here, I'm coming up to another admin training, and part of the problem is that we have huge numbers, in these trainings, where I like to do it with a group of 30, at the most, or 35 maybe, you can do a good circle. So I have a big group, and so what we're going to do is we're going to do a fishbowl. We're going to have 20 in the middle, and it becomes a little bit like, here's your demonstration circles, here we go, whatever, but it's okay. But I guess it's about setting up the context for circle time, to bring that mind, bring the mind into that place, to present the ritual of it, the ceremony of it, to create the zone without alienating people, right? I mean, you need people to feel safe in that space and welcomed, and I guess I'm looking for wording and if there's languaging that people feel is working in all kinds of different contexts of people coming, all different walks of life that are, that might be a little bit like, whoa, I don't know if I'm really going to be okay if we've got a feather in the middle and we're talking about let's honor our ancestors, and it's like, well, I don't know. I'm not going to be there with you right now, So going into the ceremonial elements of it and that getting that circle mind space happening, do you get what I'm saying?
I do.
I think I do. I mean, I think it's
a longer conversation, I think. So give me a call.
I also think you want to. I would also say that trust the humans in that circle as well. I mean, yes, they may not be used to it. They may feel that they're very busy and, they want to get the information very quickly. But go out of your way to say, you know what, for this period of time, we're going to put away our cell phones. We're going to put away all these things. And we are going to, and you can explain too, this is a ritual. And we have rituals in all kinds of ways of our lives. But trust them as human beings, as Kay did with these judges. To speak from, they're not given, all of us are not given the opportunity to speak from our hearts very often. And in some ways, maybe the more you go up the hierarchy, the more you really are valued for what's in your head, and you feel like what's in your heart stays home. But I would just trust their humanity, and my guess is they would respond like everyone else, and certainly that's been my experience too. It's hard to get the opportunity.
And you choose the things you use in a circle to fit the group, so you don't use a feather if a feather isn't going to work, right? We've done circles with hockey teams, and we use a hockey puck as a talking piece. So it really is partly a matter of choosing the things that don't create a barrier for the particular people who are in that circle, and you can keep your opening simple. It has to be there, but you can keep it quite simple. So I think and then inviting them to stretch a little bit, as Carolyn said.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Shari. Well, we have about 3 minutes left before we need to close up, and wonder, Kay and Carolyn, if you'd like to make any closing remarks, or if we have one person left, or if you want to kind of wrap with that, what would you prefer?
If we have one person left to take a quick question, we could probably
Yes, why don't we do that?
respond? Yes.
Great. Great. So Greg, you are on. Thank you. Where are you from?
Hi, I'm Greg. I'm from Freiburg, Maine, and there are actually 3 of us online tonight. So it's nice to have a kind of community of our own coming into this little circle. But my question was on the idea of healthy personal power. And I struggle with this personally because I'm a middle-aged white guy in a diverse school culture. And I want to be able to share the power that I know I have. But I don't know always the best way to do that.
So, yeah, I face that as well in lots of places. So for a very important first step is that willingness and starting to ask yourself the question. And then I think in trying to create some spaces where one of the difficulties is if we walk around with power, which for white people a lot comes out of our privilege, that we're unconscious of when it's operating. So then you have to look for creating really safe feedback mechanisms where people could say how they're experiencing our power. And circle's a particularly good mechanism for safe feedback. And beginning to sit in those spaces and try to just listen with no explanation, noticing our own defensiveness and then releasing it. Because we intend to do good, it's very hard to take in that information about some place where maybe what we're doing doesn't feel good to somebody. This is a struggle for me all the time. And learning to sit with my own sense of shame if something comes up, and then but stay, not run, not hide, stay in space, and keep listening and keep inviting. I have developed a practice in my training of saying that it would never be my intention to cause harm or do something that feels bad for someone else. I've learned that I can inadvertently do that. So I invite you, if I do that, I invite you, if you can, to let me know. So you begin to open up that space for feedback and begin to understand where the power operates. And then we cannot answer these things by ourselves. This has to be a collective process of figuring out then how do we change that dynamic? How do we shift it?
Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Yes, yes. And I would say too that, I think that this is, this is just to echo what Kay said, this is not something that any of us has the capacity to fix alone, and that one of the benefits of spaces like Circle, and there are many other kinds of spaces that are inviting us to be in relationship in a different way other than the structured ways that we have that are very entrenched internally and externally. So this is a lifelong commitment and journey, and also something that we need to be courageous and creative, because we do need all of us to figure this out. It's not, there isn't a, there isn't a simple answer to how to make this shift, but a commitment to it is essential.
So Matthew, I have a closing, if I may.
A close.
Yes, please.
Yes? Okay. So this is for all those who are, that we feel getting in our way. Okay. He drew a circle that shut me out, heretic, rebel, a thing to flout. But love and I had the wit to win. We drew a circle that took him in, by Edwin Markham. Thank you so much.
A beautiful quote for a beautiful evening. Thank you both so much, Carolyn and Kay. That was so rich and profound, really, to hear all that the years of work you've done brought into this beautiful space. And it was great to hear from all the participants as well. So much rich conversation. So thank you for kicking this off, and it's going to be a great few weeks, I know, coming up in the rest of this course. Just want to remind folks that next week will be, the title is Circling the Square. It's with Nancy Reistenberg and Rita Alfred. Rita and Nancy will talk about the structure of whole school restorative practices implementation and identify challenges to not only practices, but to keeping focused on the spirit and the intent of a restorative school. Stories of exploration, coaching, and finding the ever-elusive time will be offered. And then all of our participants will be also encouraged to share their own journey. So that should be great. So be sure and stick around for that. And we'll also be linking to a PDF of the practice suggestions about core assumptions to our master website page that you all received in the emails, where the PDF reflections on the inner journey of working in restorative justice that Kay shared and is already linked there. So all that will be listed there. And just a thank you to Living Justice Press. Their website is livingjusticepress.com. And you can go there to find out much more about Kay and Carolyn's books and work, which are really phenomenal resources. Also there's information and books on next week's faculty, Nancy and Rita. So just with that, I want to just again say thank you so much, Carolyn and Kay, for that beautiful information, and I'm sure many folks have deepened their understanding and are excited to move forward from all of it. So we appreciate both of you and everyone on the call for participating in the course, and we're looking forward to it all unfolding.
Thank you so much.
So
thank you everyone for being here.
What I'm going to quickly do is open everybody up, and we can all hear each other and say good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night.